On today's show, we break down why over-delivering for your boss and your customers is the most selfish thing you could ever possibly do.
Grab the duct tape and mentally prepare yourself for yet another mind-expanding knowledge bomb from America's #1 business coach, Clay Clark.
Bombs away.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrivetime Show and the Knowledge Bomb edition of the Thrivetime Show. Now, on today's show, we're talking about this concept that Napoleon Hill once wrote. So I will now quote Napoleon Hill. This quote I think so much of that I have it painted on the wall at the office. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "Over-deliver and soon you shall be overpaid." Over-deliver and soon you shall be overpaid. So on today's show, I want to give the listeners out there, I want to give you 3 examples of what it means to over-deliver. And then I would like to ask you 3 questions that are going to change your life if you get this idea. Okay? So example number 1. I did not know about over-delivering until a book was introduced to me that was written by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. My boss at the time, Jeremy Thorne, gave the book to me. Jeremy Thorne gave the book to me. The book changed my life so much that I named my son after the author. Think and Grow Rich. The author of Think and Grow Rich, the #1 self-help book of all time, outside of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. This book has sold over 60 million copies. The book is called Think and Grow Rich. It documents the proven path to success. My boss says to me, "You have to read this book." I said, "Jeremy, I don't want to read the book." And he says, "If you don't read the book, you're fired." I'm like, okay, I'll read the book.
Sounds good.
I read the book. And the book explains so many keys to success, but one of the things it explains is your goal should be to always do 20% more than you're paid to do. Your goal should always be to do 20% more than you're paid to do. 20%. So a lot of people say, I did my best effort. I did my best. But we're talking about giving 120% more than what your quota is. So as an example, I read the book and I'm going, well, my career's going nowhere. My DJ business isn't really taking off the way I wanted it to. I'm in year 3. I've done probably $30,000 of profit, last year. I'm in year 3 of the business. Now, I'd made a lot of gross, when I personally DJ'd, I always made a lot of money. But getting the business going, when I hired people, it seemed like the second employee I hired, or the first employee I hired, ate all my profits.
It's what happens. You got to step backwards a little bit.
And then I hired the next guy, and we got worse. And it seeed like the quality was just dipping, and it just seemed like every time, if I didn't DJ the show myself, it wasn't very good. And so what I wanted to do is I have an audio clip of me, I think, actually DJing from back in the day. I'm going to cue it up so you could hear what a DJ show sounded like when I personally DJ'd. A bride would ask for a song like the bride and groom would make a playlist of songs they wanted, and they weren't good at DJing. They were a bride and groom. But my job was to sell every single song to every single audience and get people excited about songs that I didn't even like. And so Meatloaf wrote a song called "I Would Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That." And to this day, he's never explained what that is. But the thing is, he wrote this song, and I'm going like, okay, if I have to play this song at a wedding, I got to get everybody on the dance floor. That's a hard thing to do because the song's really not danceable, and I would just sell that song. I was selling that song like George Foreman sold you a grill. I was just selling that thing. I was selling that thing like it was late night at a used car lot on a Saturday night. You got 1 hour left and you're just trying to close the deal. I was selling that thing like I worked at Mathis Brothers Furniture Store. If you don't know what Mathis Brothers is, it's like a timeshare tour. I'm selling that thing like I'm in an MLM. I'm selling that thing like I'm selling timeshares. I'm selling that song. Every single show, I personally would just sell the song to the audience.
If I believe I would do anything for love. I would do anything for love.
Keeping the dance floor full.
I would do anything
it's so hard for this song.
love, but I won't do that.
Passion.
No, I won't do that.
that the reason why brides would tip me massive money is because my goal when I DJ'd was to wow the bride. Just wow the bride. I was into it. I was passionate about DJing, right? So I would get out there and just try to wow the bride, and then the brides would tell their friends about me. And I personally always got tipped, but I wasn't passionate about training my people. So instead of training my people and doing 20% more than my employees expected, my trainings were 80% as good as they should have been. So when a guy would come to apply for a job at DJ Connection back in the day, I would hire the guy, and I would try to delegate the training by having stupid low-energy videos for them to watch, handing them manuals, handing them an operations manual. Instead of training them, handing them an operations manual. So even though I was personally good at DJing and I personally could wow every bride, I was a terrible trainer.
It's kind of like trying to delegate raising your kids.
Right.
Like this is something that you built and you're caring about and you're helping it grow, and then all of a sudden you take your eye off the ball and it's going to get terrible.
So what I want to do, I want to ask all the listeners this question. I'm going to ask you, in what area of your business are you not going over and above? Because again, over-deliver and soon you shall be overpaid. In what area of your business right now, if you're a business owner, in what area are you not over-delivering? Or if you are an employee for somebody, in what area are you not over-delivering in? And when I realized that, it's just kind of a self-analysis, a self-awareness that, wow, I am over-delivering personally as a DJ, but as it relates to training my team, I'm not. Gosh, that's why my DJs suck. Once it occurred to me that I am the problem, I am the issue, I am the one causing my dysfunction, I am the one peeing in my own gas tank. I am the one keying my own car. I am the one with the fly down giving the speech. I am the one not over-delivering. It was fixable. But Chup, up until that point, I was just mad at the way life worked. I bought into that narrative. I can't find good people.
Oh, they're just not out there. Millennials weren't even a thing yet, were they?
No, but I was blaming the economy. Okay, so again, concept number one, ask yourself, in what area are you not over-delivering as an employee or as a boss? Now, second concept I want to teach here. It is not good enough to just over-deliver one time. You need to bake the over-delivery into your actual business cake. You have to bake the over-delivery into your business cake. You have to bake it. You have to put it into the recipe. As an example, at Chick-fil-A, Andrew, you worked at Chick-fil-A.
Yes, sir.
And there are many, many things that Chick-fil-A does that are far and above. They dramatically exceed the expectations of the average consumer.
Yep.
So let's go through some things that you did at Chick-fil-A on a daily basis. I'll kind of tee up what I see as a customer, and you can tell me the system behind it.
Yep.
Every time that I've gone into a Chick-fil-A bathroom, and I say every time, the bathrooms are very clean. Also, you have drive-through people that not only do a good job taking your order in the drive-through line, but they actually come out to your car if the line gets
just too big. Let's go to the bathroom
first. Why are the bathrooms always, how do they system guarantee that with all of their stores, thousands of stores, they're always clean? How do they put it into the system to keep the bathrooms far cleaner than I probably keep my own bathroom?
So multiple times throughout the day, someone actually goes back there to where the bathrooms are, and there's a cabinet. And when you open the cabinet door, there's something on the door, and it's a checklist. It's a checklist of literally every single part of the bathroom that has to be clean at a certain time throughout the day. And someone goes back there multiple times throughout the day, opens the cabinet door and looks at the checklist, puts on the gloves, and gets in there and cleans the bathroom.
So the question again is, how can you systemically make it where every single time, as part of your process, that every customer's wowed every single time? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do it, okay? What you do is you make a checklist. So after the weddings, I made a checklist, and on that checklist, the DJ had to send the bride a handwritten thank you. So right there, when you would unload your gear, we would immediately begin to write the thank you note, and we'd sign it with a blue pen, and we mailed it right then. Right then, all the DJs had to sign the card right then. It was part of the system. Step two, all the DJs, I would open up their case of CDs and make sure they were all organized alphabetically. Every show, guys would get their CDs disorganized, and every single show, I'd make them open their case, put it back where it was. Step three, I had a checklist for unloading their equipment every single time, making sure no gear got left, right? Then we had a competition for whoever got the most tips or whoever could do the most dips.
Ooh.
I would give them a bonus. So dips, like physical tricep extensions, I would compete with the DJs to see who could beat me. And nobody really could ever beat me because I did them every night with the guys.
All night.
So I'm serious. I was doing dips or whoever got a bigger tip. And if you got a big tip, I would always high five you and basically double your money there.
Nice.
But it was a goal. Then the system was after the wedding, I personally would call, or one of the managers would call every bride and say, how happy were you with your DJ on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the highest, 1 being the least. And if they rated the DJ a 9 or above, the DJ's got a bonus. If they rated him below a 9, they didn't.
Yeah.
So these are all systems that I created that baked into the business cake the over-delivery, Chuck.
And so when he's talking about creating these systems, literally make a list of all of these wow moments, okay? Walk through your workflow. Walk through if you were your own customer and point and notice where you have these wow moments. Clay, one thing that really I resonated with when I very first started working with you with Epic Photography was that I was managing the gear for all the photographers. Check it in, check it out, just like you were saying with the DJs. And I noticed on the checklist, I don't know if you remember this, but I noticed on the checklist there was a spot for a sewing kit.
Yes.
And I had not seen a sewing kit of any of the kits at all. And so we talked about it, and you explained to me, no, that's one of the wows that has to go back into the kit, and it has to start going.
Because people quit doing it.
They quit doing it. And it's what I want to get across to the listeners is that those little things, putting a sewing kit in the gear bag for the photographers, if a bride or a bridesmaid or somebody has a tear in a dress or whatever, and the photographer stands up and says, "Hey, let me fix that for you,"
I can't tell you
that's
how
such
many
a wow moment.
I can't tell you how many weddings we booked as a result of referrals from that.
Exactly, right? So people are just blown away. So you have to actually create the list of these wow factors to make sure that your team members, as Clay was saying, when you delegate, don't skip over these things.
Also, there was on the checklist for the photographer, there's drop off gourmet chocolate and give it to the event planner.
Yes.
And people every time, I didn't know we're still doing that. I didn't know we're still doing that. I didn't know we're still doing it. Come on, man. So what happens is people by default always will do the least amount of effort that is expected. So you've got to make it part of your process.
Yes.
Part of your minimum expectation should be to wow people. Talk to me about the drive-through line at Chick-fil-A, Andrew. You worked there. Why do the drive-through people actually come outside of the store and come out to your car?
So they actually come out to your car because it's a lot more personal and you get a better interaction as opposed to talking to a robotic speaker box. And so that way orders are understood a lot better when it's face-to-face. There's less miscommunication, just like in texting and emailing.
There you go.
It's so much quicker, it's so much more personal, and it's so much more accurate when you actually have a person you're talking to.
So step one, again, ask yourself, how can I over-deliver for either my boss or, how am I not over-delivering? Just ask yourself this. The first concept is, what area of my life and business am I not over-delivering in, okay? This next concept is how can I systemically put it into my checklist?
Put it into my checklist.
Yes, put it into your checklist.
Check, breaker, Houston, work.
Checklist? What?
Check 1, check 2.
Put it on the checklist.
Houston, all systems go. Check. Houston, do we have any bacon on board the Space Shuttle Discovery?
There's a checklist. Checklist.
Yes, you have
Airplanes use checklists. Why are you not using a checklist? Make a checklist to put in the over-delivery. Third, people will not refer now until they say, wow. Concept 3, people will not refer now until they say, wow. And I don't care how many times you ask people for referrals, you and your clever referral schemes and your moves where you ask people for referrals and, hey, could you recommend me to 5 people? They won't do it. And that's why our December conference, there are so many people coming. That is why so many people have attended our workshops multiple times. That is why we have over 920 now online video reviews. People on video talking about how they love the experience. That's why we have over 512 5-star Google reviews. That's how we have over 1,000 iTunes reviews. Because when you wow, people want to give back. They want to reciprocate. Right. It's this thing called the law of reciprocity.
Exactly.
And it works with your wife, and it works with your business, and it works with your husband, and it works with your business, and it works with your kids, and it works with your business. It's do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when you wow somebody, when they're expecting you as a disc jockey to show up at 5 o'clock to set up and to start at 7, and the contract states I'll DJ until 11, and then you get there at 4 o'clock, 1 hour before they expect you, and then you walk up to the bride on the day of her wedding at 10:30, you say, Amber, how's it going? Great. She's having a great time. She's in her dress. People are dancing, having a good time. And you say, Amber, hey, just so you know, tonight it's going to be unlimited time, and there's no, I know you're having a great time. There is no, you don't have to pay anything extra. I can't tell you how many times they would say, oh, wow, thank you. You guys are awesome.
Like they literally say, wow.
They do.
Literally.
And they say, God, what can we do to thank you? And I always say, hey, if you're happy, just tell your friends. All I want to do is wow you. And I can't tell you how many people would refer their friends. It's unbelievable.
Huge.
But if you don't do this, the most selfish thing that you could do for your this is the most selfish thing you could ever do. The most selfish thing you could ever do is to not work with me on this. This is the most selfish thing. The most selfish thing would be to say, I'm not just going to deliver. I'm going to over-deliver. The most selfish thing that you can do is to over-deliver. The most selfish habit you could develop is to always do 20% more than is expected. The most selfish thing you could do for your own self is to be the first one to work. The most selfish thing you could ever do for your career is to never ask, is that my job? The most selfish thing you could ever do is to beat your boss to work. The most selfish thing you could do is to call your wife, not on her birthday, but on a Monday, and tell her you love her. Send her a text and tell her you love her. It show up with flowers on a Tuesday. You guys have been in the office long enough. You've seen this, Andrew. Why did we could you tell the audience, tell the listeners out there about the mariachi band?
Yeah, so one day you just walked up to me and said, hey, I need you to get a mariachi band here by 2 o'clock and for your wife. And you just, we had a mariachi band just show up, and we celebrated your wife for accomplishing something, but it wasn't on any specific day.
Was it Valentine's Day?
No.
Was it her birthday?
No.
Was it Christmas?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I think it was like a Tuesday.
I think it was Tuesday.
My wife, I mean this though, she's a great lady.
Yeah.
Everybody who meets her always goes, have you ever seen your husband? Why'd you marry him? I mean, I'm like Yoda, and she's like a beauty queen. My wife is great, but you know what? The only I'm 100% convinced of this because she's told me. The only reason she wanted to marry me is because I constantly over-delivered for her and for my clients.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. But with a business, it was so hard to scale it because I didn't have any checklists for over-delivering. So I made a checklist for training my DJs. And my checklist was to teach these guys how to become confident presenters and good DJs. And before, I was just trying to teach them how to hit buttons and hit play. But to teach somebody how to become a confident presenter, so many of the former DJs have gone on to become pastors now and gone on to become leaders. And they'll text me and call me and say, dude, what I learned while working for you changed my life. But I had to over-deliver. So again, this third concept is you just want to you want to develop this habit of over-delivering. You want to just develop this habit for us where that's what you do. Chup, you've had this concept since your first day working with us. It's a concept I've seen you do on a daily basis. Can you explain your mindset as it comes down to over-delivering as an employee and when you were a business owner?
So the way I look at, let's just say like compensation, I don't view it as I'm going to come here and get paid for an hour. I'm going to come, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to get paid, but I don't really care about that. I just want to do whatever needs to get done. And that's I feel lucky that I grew up in that environment because, I knew I was going to get paid working for my parents, but it didn't matter how long it took. You still have to get the job done. Therefore, you got to get it done as fast as possible. And when you're working for somebody, if you have that mindset and they're a good mentor and a good manager, then it's a great fit and you can learn a lot and you guys can both go places very quickly.
What is going on in your head when what aspects of working at Thrive are you most grateful for or are you most appreciative? Like what aspects do you say, gosh, I really am appreciative of this aspect of the job?
One major thing would be just the consistency, knowing that we all have things to do and that we can count on you, for one, to be the leader of everything. That's a really helpful thing. Consistency builds confidence. And then the second thing...
So that matters to you, knowing that, I'm going to show up.
Well, that you're going to show up, or that whatever, if we set a plan in motion, it's going to follow through until we communicate and change it. It's not just let's go do this and then you don't ever hear about it again. That happens with bosses all the time, right? And then another huge thing for me, we talk about this on the show a lot, but I've got 2 business degrees. I ran a company for 7 or 8 years, and I learn so much every day through experiences, through systems, through whatever. You can learn so much working at the Thrivetime Show.
Andrew, what do you appreciate most about working at the Thrivetime Show?
Yeah, so when I actually first started working at Thrive, I was in school, in college, and I was paying
You were, weren't you?
a lot of money in order to get this education that I would more than likely never use. And I started working at Thrive, and it felt weird because I wasn't paying anything for the education I was getting. I was actually getting paid for it.
Your wife made a comment the other day. What did she say?
She's learned more here in the past 6 months than she has in the past 6 years anywhere else.
And I just want to make sure you're getting this. This was not what I used to do. I didn't do this, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
15 years ago, I'm not kidding you guys. I would show up to work. I was always the first guy there. And I would tell you what to do. And I would personally be a great DJ. And I would tell you how to DJ. But I never mentored my employees. I never prepared for the meetings. Every morning, you guys know on Monday morning, we have our Monday morning meeting.
Yep.
I'm always going to have a prepared teaching thing.
It's right at the bottom of the agenda that we know. It's the same agenda, same time, right? And then there's Clay's section at the bottom, and there's always something there.
And it's my whole goal is to make sure that I teach somebody something they did not know every single morning. Every single morning.
Yep.
Every single morning I do it. Also, I want to make sure we have a really cool place to work, right? So we have the coffee bar set up there.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure that the people like working there. We got a big walk-in freezer. We're located in a nice office building. We're in a nice part of town. This just in, it would be significantly more profitable if we weren't in a nice area of town. But even when we move to our new office here in about 18 months, that too will be in a nice place of town. I could save money by officing in a bunker somewhere, but you wouldn't. Again, you use a boss want to over-deliver. I want to offer a better office environment, a cooler office. I've worked in so many office buildings that are just soul-sucking.
Yeah.
And Chubb, can you explain the decor of the office or the look, just the atmosphere of the actual Thrivetime Show offices?
Patina, swag, that might be something you would say. There's just stuff everywhere. Very intentional. There's positive quotes and success stories all over the walls in poster form, in chalk form. There's always, it's an office area, but there's no walls. It's a gigantic room with all of the team, and we meet our clients right there. We have our conference right there. There's always overhead music going. There's always energy. There's always people celebrating wins whenever they book a deal or an appointment. And so it's just very intentional and very upbeat.
Here you go. These are the mechanisms. These are the systems. This is the checklist. This is the checklist for making an office environment people will like, okay? 1, sights. Got to make sure visually the place is enticing and encouraging. Sights. Don't tell me that your vanilla painted wall with a picture of a duck from 1984
is inspiring. I'm
talking about it has to be inspiring. Sights, sounds. They must be uplifting, upbeat. Uplifting and upbeat sounds. Smells. Smell has to be positive. There's no such thing as smell neutral. That's why we burn pinion wood in the office.
And right now.
Yep, sights, sounds, smells, okay? You as the boss dictate the emotional state of the team. If you look fearful, your team will be scared. If you're confident, you'll have a confident team. If you say nice things, they'll say nice things. If you're funny, they'll be funny.
Stoicism.
You set the tone. If you're stoic, you're an emotional battleship, you can handle things, then you are going to have a stoic team. But again, it comes down to you. Sights, sounds, smells, leadership. You have to have an organizational chart. People have to know where they stand and how they move up. People have to know where they stand and how they move up. They have to know the organizational chart, right? The next thing you have to have is a set weekly schedule. People want to know when they can count on you. People want to know. People want to know. They want to. When can they count on you? People want to know these things, right? Next, we want to be in a part of town that people actually want to be in. You don't want an office in a bombed-out shelter in Beirut because people don't want to work there. So you have to be in a nice place. That's why when I went to Puerto Rico to check it out, that's why I realized right away I couldn't bring a team here. It's not safe enough. And that's what killed that idea. The taxation was a great deal. The views are awesome. The beach is incredible. But just the location wouldn't have worked for the vast majority of people. It didn't feel safe. So as we wrap up today's show about over-delivering, again, Napoleon Hill once wrote, "Over-deliver and soon you shall be overpaid." I want you, Mr. Listener, to write down these 3 questions. Question number 1, in what area of my life am I not over-delivering to my family? In what areas of my life am I not over-delivering to my family? I want you to think about that and write it down. Second, in what area of my business am I not over-delivering to my business? In what areas of my business am I not over-delivering? 3, in what areas of my personal work ethic am I not over-delivering? And I want to tell you, you have the power to change. You can change right now. But write down these things and be aware of it. And now here's what you do. You put it onto your calendar. You put it on your calendar. Schedule it onto your calendar when you are going to over-deliver. Bake it into the cake. Make that checklist, Chuck. That's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do.
That's how it works.
I want to chime in real
Yeah.
quick. You said something a minute ago, and I really want to hammer this point home about being over-delivering with your employees. A lot of people can kind of skim over this. And again, it goes back to just over-delivering to your clients. It's the most selfish thing you can do. Clay, if you don't over-deliver to people, how do you get people like Marshall and John Kelly to stay around for as long as they have?
People won't do it.
If you over-deliver with your people, your team will stick by your side, and they'll help you with your vision.
It also repels people
Yes.
when you hold people accountable to
Yes.
them over-delivering. It makes
Exactly.
people want to peace out.
Exactly.
I'm just telling you.
So you got to do it.
If you're the kind of person that doesn't want to show up every day, you won't like working with me.
That's under-delivery right there.
That's right. And as always, I'd like to end the show with a boom. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Do you seriously want to grow your business? Get the tools, the templates, the training, the videos, and the workshop you need to be successful at thrivetimeschool.com. For only $228 per year and only 2,500 spots available, don't miss out and reserve your spot today at thrivetimeschool.com.